Right. So you see the picture. And the fact of the matter is, I know a little bit about traveling and a little bit about passports. As you can see, I have two. In fact, my Jamaican passport expires next year. It's been 10 years already, goddamn. And my American one expires sometime in 2026 or something like that. Passport bros. Passport bros. Passport bros. Alright, so this video is not to sit here and slam on the passport bros, because when it comes down to it, the passport bros, as far as I didn't do too much research on this whole quote unquote movement or phenomenon, but from the little bit that I was able to glean in passing, apparently it's a quote unquote movement where I'm guessing it's black men. And of course, because it's black men doing it, other people are going to jump on it in a second if they haven't already, and then act like, oh, it's for everybody. Black men that are saying, you know what, let's go overseas and do whatever we want to do. Find a wife, find a girl, just have sex, whatever. Okay, fine. My thing is this. A few things to this. All right, let me just go down the line. Number one, and this is in no order of importance, but just to get it out. Number one, this stuff is old. This is not new. I'm guessing it might just be a younger generation doing this, more or less. But going overseas to find a mate, or to find sex, or to find whatever, nothing new. Saying nothing of just conquest of the world. White men have been doing this. White men especially, but white people have been doing this for a while now. So I don't really see why there's a problem now that black men are doing it. Okay. The next thing, though, is it's not going to work. Now, physically and logically, you can go overseas, and yes, the reasoning is proper. Okay, the money, the money does go further overseas than it does in America. Unless, of course, overseas is like Switzerland or UK, Europe or something. But, the places where the girls, on average, I guess, are hotter, yeah, the money does go further. The money goes further. I mean, I don't think there's any question about that. The reason why I say it's not going to work is for several reasons. The first one, you're going over there to find a wife. Okay. And what exactly are you planning to do after that? Okay, you landed the wife. You landed exactly what you wanted. Or at least 9 out of 10. Maybe she's not a virgin herself, but you know what? Whatever. She's hot. She's young. She has a nice body. Blah, 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 blah. Fine. Okay, well, unless you are going to stay in that country and live in that country, of which you are at a severe disadvantage because you do not know anything about that country, you're going to probably want to come back here. So let's sort this one out. Let's dissect this one. You stay in that country. Okay. Again, you're at a severe disadvantage, and God forbid you don't speak the language. You're going to probably want to learn that real quick. At least functional to talk. Not saying that you have to be fooling native speakers, right? But, you stay there. You're going to need to come. You're going to need to come with some money, because the simple fact of the matter is, as somebody who is in fact a foreigner, strictly speaking, born in Jamaica, okay, I can tell you right now, Jamaica's the West as well, but you Westerners, meaning UK, Europe, US, Canada, Australia, West, you motherfuckers can be spotted a mile away. I don't know which one we can do first, because I've been in America for a while, but I don't know if we can hear you or smell you from a mile away. One of those. It's not, we don't see you from a mile away, but we can either hear you coming from a mile away or smell you coming from a mile away. One, if not both of those. Okay. Again, I don't know which one more. So they're going to know that you are American and they're going to expect that you have some sort of money. Okay. Having said that, they're going to expect that you are going to share some of that money with them. All right. Them and their family. Okay. So there's that. You're not just getting the little hot, whatever the hell, the village bitch, and you think you're just going to go wife her up and then have a bunch of kids there and then that's it and y'all are going to continue living third world level. No, they expect to be upgraded. And they'll protect it because it's like, hey, this is my ticket. Even though I'm still here, I am now the 1% here, as opposed to the bottom 99% or hell, bottom 10% or whatever. You know, you get what I'm saying. So in that sense, you're going to need to come with some stuff. And of course, you don't need to come with anywhere near as much. God forbid you're doing remote work. Okay. So you're still bringing in, you're still a wage slave as far as U.S. is concerned, but because that money's getting directly transferred to wherever third world you are, that money's going forever. You're able to live like God. Fine. Point is, you're going to need to come with some stuff. And this is where I understand the passport bros. The money stretches further down there. Plus the food is probably almost guaranteed to be better. No GMO, no agrobiz, whatever the hell, good, proper, all natural, straight from the ground food. No arguments there. All right. But let's just say you cannot quite get the culture right. And you're surrounded, you got no backup, you cannot quite get the culture right, wherever the hell you are. Okay? So you bring her back here. I don't think I need to tell any of you people what a blunder that is. Okay? It has been talked about way too much, and maybe people online today don't know because they weren't here in the early days of YouTube like I was. Think 5-star ratings, right? Think video responses where the video response shows up right under the video you're watching. Yeah, those days where, 360 or 380, 480p, 360p was the highest resolution. Okay. It has been talked about ad infinitum how if you go and find the proper woman with the proper mentality and all that stuff and the proper body and all that crap, you do not bring her back to the West, anywhere in the West. You do not bring her to Australia. Do not bring her to the US, Canada, UK, Europe, nowhere. Hell, you don't even bring her to Eastern Europe, much less Western Europe. You do not bring her to the West. This is where I say, do you speak the language? Because if you don't, and she doesn't speak your language, and they took English in school, and then they took that shit just to pass, right? And that was the end of that. Yeah. Okay. Bringing them here, I'm not even going to get into why bringing them here is a blunder move. The most blunder of moves. Okay? All right. So that's marriage. So you want to go over there, you want a girlfriend. Well, everything that I applied to marriage applies there, but just to a lesser extent, to a more diminutive extent. Okay. Same thing, but just no marriage. And, well, how long is that going to last? And if you have a girlfriend, well, again, unless you're living there, you're there for what, 2 weeks? However long your vacation is from work. Unless, of course, you have 100% remote work. Okay. And as a side note, this whole thing of remote work, since that's more or less going to have to be the future now, right? Especially considering all the benefits on all sides that it is, maybe this might possibly work. You work 100% remote. Maybe once a month you might have to take a plane and go into the office. Okay, fine. But, 100% remote. You can go live wherever the hell on planet Earth you want, especially if it's not in a Western country, if it's a third world country. You're bringing in first world money into a third world country. You can afford some high-speed internet. All right? Even if it's satellite, even if it's SATCOM, you can afford some high-speed internet, right? Okay, but that's girlfriend. How long is that going to last, especially if you're not living there? Same thing. Okay, if you're just going there for sex, well, okay. So, there's that. May I, passport bro. Actually, one more thing on the passport bros. Why are people, like, I just typed in passport bros, and the first thing that comes up is passport bros exposed, and this and that exposed, and all of these different races of women exposing passport bros. Why don't they ever do that when it comes to non-black men? Black men wants to say F it, and now everybody's getting exposed, and this and that, and we're critiquing this. Interestingly enough, it's other black people doing it sometimes, but also non-black people, all right? I don't see them doing this with anybody else. Oh, you hear it once or twice every now and then, but not to the degree that you're seeing it here. Asian women only go hunting for white men, or white men for Asian women. Oh, you hear about it. Okay, fine. You know it exists, but there's not that level of slamming on them for that. In fact, you might even hear, well, who are you to judge, or what's it to you, and blah, 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 blah. Are you jealous? White men have been going around just taking whatever women they want for God knows how long now. Nobody's saying anything. Maybe they've gotten desensitized to it. Whatever. Any other group of men or women go and do this shit is not a problem, but the moment black men want to be like, you know what, screw this, I can go over here and get better, and it's a problem. Seems to me like it's only when black men say, nah, not putting up with that, or no, I'm getting this, I'm getting the best just like everybody else, or I'm doing what everybody else is doing, and I'm going to have, not to plagiarize Kevin Samuels, you know what, I have what everybody else has, in this case a passport, I'll have what everybody else is having. Access to better looking women that are probably thinner, that are probably hotter, that are probably a bit more cooperative, whatever. Don't have to deal with the Western woman and her mentality. I don't see what the problem is. But, moving right along. May I suggest something different? Because, again, and I gotta stress this out. Unless you're going to that third world to live, that pretty much, we can talk about black men, but I notice this passport bros thing is applying to all men, even though it might only be black men, white men, and to maybe a lesser extent, other groups of men saying it, okay? May I suggest something else? Because again, like I said, if you're not going to live there, this kind of doesn't work. If you go there and you go through all the trouble of going to this country and then grabbing one and bringing her back here, you deserve what you get. It's not like you even met her here off some au pair bullshit, okay? So, yeah. And yes, she will pick up the language. And yes, once the Western woman realizes that you got exactly what they could never be, either physically and or mentally, they will make sure to destroy it. They will destroy your Garden of Eden, okay? So, may I suggest an alternative? And that alternative is this. Do whatever you want on some passport bros BS. But back here in the Western world, start spray and pray carpet bombing. Meaning, men as a whole in the Western world, well, once we cleanse ourselves of the simps and the detractors and the people who want to sabotage for whatever reason, as though it doesn't benefit them what we're trying to do, you're going to have to start doing a few things, and chief amongst which is to start voting politically. The political aspect of this. See, we can sit here and talk about the social aspect. The social aspect, you just have to say, I'm not accepting this. I am not going to accept fat, or I'm not going to accept a bitch, or I'm not going to accept being talked at, or I'm not going to accept being put down. Men as a whole just have to say that and actually do that, not put up with women and not put up with their foolishness. And that's that. Don't need any laws, don't need any rules and regulations. What does need rules and regulations is what is already on the books. And that is the point where we have to, as a whole, start voting. Start voting for stuff to... Start voting to get the books cleansed. All these rules and laws and stuff that were applicable back in the 19 and 1800s but are not applicable in 2023, they need to be done away with. Laws that might favor women. Laws that might favor anybody, but in today's day and age, as you can see, it favors women. And laws that may be written neutrally, but are enforced in favor of women. I think the domestic violence aspect is chief amongst that, short of, or maybe equal to, child custody and divorce court. Child custody, divorce court, I guess that can tie into as family court, and domestic violence. I believe the study said that, what is it? Physical violence is roughly equal between men and women. Men and women are, women are more likely to use weapons, and women are more likely to abuse kids. That last one is like, okay, well, women get the custody more, so yeah, I guess that makes more sense. Okay, fine. You can have that one. But the first two, physical violence, like fists, empty hand fists, no weapons, is roughly equal between men and women. And I even question that, considering how many times women assault men in public, people watch, and nothing happens. Because he doesn't do anything and nobody comes to his defense. So if men were to sit there and report instances of that shit happening to them by women at the rate, much less absolutely, that women report when men do it, I think you'll find that men probably get assaulted more than women do. But 50-50 is what the official unbiased stats say. So not from RAIN or Now or anybody else, right? And women are more likely to use weapons, okay? And more likely to abuse kids, right? The laws. Laws need to change. Laws need to be updated or just flat out done away with. Men as a whole need to start voting to get certain things in place. Certain laws in place. And also start punishing the people that do not, be it cops, be it judges, be it district attorneys, whatever, that do not enforce them equally. Fairly and equally, just 50-50 straight down the line. That, I believe, is what's screwing men up, is the fact that these laws are not, for the laws that are in fact written completely neutrally, they're not being enforced neutrally. They're being enforced as much as they can benefit women, and the moment that women might end up, unless it's something egregious, the moment that it becomes a pain in the ass for women at best, or just a flat detriment at worst, all of a sudden there's justification why we don't think that this law that does apply will apply or should apply, and therefore we won't apply it. You call the cops because she hit you. Cops go and ask her, did he hit you? Or the dispatcher goes and asks, did you hit her back? Despite the fact that you have the right to defend yourself, they're asking that. Now, of course, when she calls and says that you hit her, they're not asking her that same question. Cops aren't asking you, did she do anything to you? More oftentimes than not. Laws that are written fairly and enforced fairly and neutrally, and enforced fairly and neutrally. And then whoever gets hit with it gets hit with it. Like if it's a fair and equal law that's being applied fairly, and we see that more women get affected than men, or more men that get affected than women, or more gays get affected than straights, or more kids get affected than adults, fine. But it is a fair and equal law that's written neutrally and enforced neutrally. Done. That is the one thing that I think will help more than anything else. Because when it comes down to it, unless you're rich and you have passive income to where you don't have to work for the rest of your life, or maybe if it's not passive, maybe you're just flat rich, okay? You're just rich to the point where you do not have to work for the rest of your life. Even if you're eating away at the principal, you have so much principal you can't eat it all away. This going overseas thing is all well and nice to enjoy, but after a while, it's gonna fail. It's gonna fail. And the one thing I will say to black men is, do not be like these white guys that keep going over to Eastern Europe or wherever the hell, keep bringing them back. They get divorced when they come back, take it, and they keep. You got these old ass white dudes can't figure it the fuck out. They're like on their third, fourth, or fifth 20-year-old wife, 30-year-old wife, 40-year-old wife. This dude is in his 60s or 70s, can't figure out why the hell. You know, he dominates them. He lets them dominate him. He goes 50-50 no matter what the hell he does. He just keeps getting cleaned out. Just don't be like that. All right. But again, they can spot you a mile away. Smell and hear you a mile away. All right. Spot you half a mile away. Whatever. So that is my thing about this whole passport bros thing and men going overseas for women. The only way that's going to work is if you take money or have money coming in by whatever means. Either you're rich or you're just doing 100% remote work or whatever. And that way you can give them, and you probably will be able to afford it, give them either the American lifestyle, quote unquote, because really most Americans can't even afford the American lifestyle now. Give them perceived. You go over there, live over there, and you can actually give them on your salary what they think is the Hollywood life. Okay, fine. If you can do that, great. But anyhow, and also make sure that you learn up about that place, because you don't want to find out that your ass is getting stalked by the local mob boss. Okay. Or you went and got one of the mob boss daughters or sisters or one of their wives, you know, or maybe his jump off is now your wife. Who the hell knows, right? So there's that. But the only way this passport bros thing is going to work for black men, white men, Asian men, Indian men, whatever men, is if you go over to that country with money. With money. Doesn't have to be as much as you would need here, but with money. Income. And you set up shop over there. Oh, sure, we can visit America. We can visit America, stay for a week, 2 at max, keep her away from the American women, right? And hell, probably even keep her away from the women of her culture that speak her language, but that have either lived here long enough or just been here enough to be fucked up. Like, just shit. I don't know. Maybe the thing is to just stay away from the West once you leave and just go everywhere else in the world, and that'd be that. I don't know. But yeah, that's the only way that's going to work. Short of that, you're going to have to stay here and fix this shit. The last option which again involves going over passport bros and going and having as much sex as you want and hooking up and whatever the hell with the women over there and throw them a couple of bucks. Okay, fine. Come here, don't fix anything. Assuming you even can, right? Through politics, and voting and all that. And let everything get destroyed. And this is the option that I quite like. This is the option I quite like. Just let everything go to hell. Shut down. Maybe vote enough, do enough voting to where prostitution is legalized in the entire Western world, like in all Western countries, just legal everywhere, fully legal. Do enough voting for that. And maybe keep voting that in every single time some women try to remove that thing. You voted in, they go and vote it out, keep voting it back in, right? And it's going to be some women, because some women, or a lot of women, are going to find out, you know what? This prostitution thing ain't even all that bad, especially considering that now I get 100% of the cash. I don't have to give any to the house. I don't have to give any to my pimp. I don't have to give any to OnlyFans or Pornhub or anything else. I get 100% of this money. And I just made 10 years worth of money at 100,000 a year in 1 month. You know? Hey. Vote in prostitution, men. And I have a feeling that you're gonna, when the women come around that want to vote it out, make it illegal again, I think you'll find that 50% of the women, or at least 25 to 50% of the women, are going to be on your side. The ones making the money are going to be on your side, oh men. And they're going to help you keep that shit in there. Okay? That's just my thought. So yes, let everything burn, let Rome burn, let Babylon fall. The end of the British Empire. And that be that. Because the simple fact of the matter is this. At no point in this video did I tell you all to just sit here and suck it up. Notice that. I didn't tell you to sit here and put up with the average, whatever you want to call it, modern woman, Western woman, whatever the hell you want to call it, okay? Because the other thing that nobody seems to be saying is that a lot of this Western woman shit, especially in today's connected day and age, is spilling over into these third world countries. So you might have to not only go to a third world country, but go to the fucking remote village where they probably can't even speak, read, and write their own language properly, their own native language properly, much less. Right? That's what you might end up having to do if you really want to find something, and then stay in that fucking village. Just fuck. Passport bros, I guess is fun. Hey, you know what, black men, travel. Everybody else gets to. Why can't you? Travel. Everybody else gets to have fun backpacking through fill in the blank country. And I highly doubt that they're not fucking while they're doing that. So I don't really see what's a problem when black wants to do that as well. Okay. But as far as long-term permanence, sustaining and permanent, you're going to have to start changing laws here and voting as men, as hetero men. I don't think LGBT has the kind of problems we have. And if they do, well, that's their fight. Okay. I'm talking about hetero dudes here. Hetero black men specifically, but hetero dudes in general. Or let everything burn, but do not accept what the modern women, modern Western society is giving you. It's like, here's what I want. Either give me what I want, or I will just say no. And I will go back to the porn. I will go back to the video games. I will go back to the minimalist living. Still stay on minimalist living no matter what. And screw it. Screw society. Screw any of this shit. Like, this shit can end with me. This shit can end with my generation. And if you think it won't, hi Japan. How's that working for you? Are you all still like 80% old people over 70 or 90 years old? Japan, shit. Wasn't it like the mid 2000s Japan or the early to mid 2000s Japan was like the porn capital of the world outside of the second porn capital of the world outside of the United States? And yet they're having a problem where they're like the most aged and most non-reproducing people on planet Earth, despite all that hentai tentacle. Man, yo. Holy shit. So yeah, if you think that can't happen here, and that's happening in Japan, and Japan doesn't have anywhere near the kind of shit that we have dealing with as far as Western women, and their mentality, whatever you want to talk about, or whatever you want to call it, but yet they have those problems, and you think those problems can't come here? First of all, they're probably going to get here, or they're probably here simply because people can't afford this shit anymore. Like, people on average cannot afford it. Okay? And the ones that think they can probably have not analyzed their situation and projected into the future properly enough. So, I do believe that's it. I see nothing else. I do not denounce the passport bros, that movement. I don't see anybody else having a problem when non-black men go overseas and try to get as much ass as they can or whatever, and, do some sightseeing. I don't see why it all of a sudden is a problem the moment black men want to do that as well. Okay. And you know what? Even if people do have a problem with it, still keep doing it, black men. Because when it comes down to it, again, you all were not the first ones to be wanting to go overseas to get women. Right? And as much as people might rail against it, they're not stopping the other non-black men that are doing that exact same thing. Okay, they're not stopping them. I don't see why they should stop you or why you should be stopped by them. But keep in mind all of what I said. Okay. As for me, as a foreigner, and as somebody who has a foreigner as well, yeah, I could actually get in more in depth, and I could probably make an hour-long video about women coming from other countries to America and how their mentalities change. I could probably, at the drop of a hat, just make an hour-long video on that, but that's something for another time. So yes, as far as passport bros, I am all for it, within reason, but I am more for it. Actually, not within reason. Go have your fun. But as far as life goes, because I don't think anybody's going to be passport broing it at 90 or 100 years old, or even 80. So there's that. But as far as permanent, long-term permanent, you only have so much time on this planet. So to sit there and try to convince women to change, I'm not going to recommend that. What I recommend is letting shit fall, letting shit burn, or letting shit die. Let shit die. Let America become the third world country that it is. It in fact is. The only reason why America does not look like third world is because of credit. Get rid of credit. Remove all credit from America. From the individual right up to the company, and you'll see how much of a third world country it is. Telling everybody, pay as you go, prepay first. You will find out that America is a third world country that is probably just got to third world status. Okay. So, there's that. I am all for letting it just die. Shrivel up and die. Anyway, that's it. That's it. You passport bros, whoever you may be, you go have your fun. Because when it comes down to it, I don't hear of any passport bros going over there and raping anybody. They're going over there with their own freedom and free will. They're banging those girls of their own freedom and free will. Those girls are accepting to get banged of their own freedom and free will. So, who are you to judge? No hate. Love is love, right? Right? Go have your fun, black man. You get to have as much fun as every other non-black person out here. So, there's that. Just don't be confused, don't be deluded, don't be misled in your fun having. Anyway, later.